why is Rellseas so popular? As a Rellseasologist, I had to really question that fact because we know that Rellseas is popular. Rellseas is a phenomenon. It's never seen before on Roblox, but we need to understand why it is the most anticipated and loved Roblox anime game. After using 2% of my brain power, I was able to identify 3 factors, that truly brought Rellseas to Rellseas level. And these 3 factors are immersion, innovation, and quality. But for this video, we're specifically going to be talking about different games that have the qualities that make Rellseas what Rellseas is, if that makes sense. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that these games that we're going to talk about are Rellseas level currently. What I am saying is that they share similarities with, you know what I'm saying, the big C's. And so if they keep working and refining on these games, then maybe they could reach that next level. So without further ado, actually, I was gonna say like and subscribe, but you already did that, didn't you? You already liked, yeah. So I don't have to say it, right? Because you already liked the video. All right, well, enjoy. Immersion, innovation, quality. Rellseas, the savior of Roblox, attained everything the platform had to offer. The sneaks they released sparked life and excitement in the community.
Rellseas, if you want it, you can have it. The game will release on that date.
And so, devs across the world went to Roblox Studio in pursuit of creating a great game. Anime Roblox has truly entered the golden age. If you don't know the definition of immersion, it basically means being deeply involved or invested in something. And in this case, Shinsei perfectly sinks the player into the feeling of being in Naruto. And I've been saying this for a long time, but combat in Shinsei seriously immerses the player. And we can see that through so many factors. Look at the ninja tools, look at the hand signs for the jutsus, look at the taijutsu with the stamina, look at the genjutsu, look at the water walking, look at the movement, the combos. Shinsei combat is, in my opinion, something that is lacking on the Roblox front page, and that's a combat system that genuinely requires preparation and thought behind it. Every action, every movement, every attack needs to be something that is planned. If it's not planned, it'll easily fall apart and it'll easily drain your resources, because resource management is very important in Shinsei. You can't just charge chakra in the corner and get your shit right back to 100. No, you use your chakra and it's gone. Like, your resources are very important, and that's why preparation is insanely important, and that's what brings the immersion into the combat. Your ninja tools are insanely valuable. They're not just something to throw around, just, oh, let me do a little bit of damage, hopefully I could hit him. No, like, it's hard to explain without genuinely showing you guys firsthand how it is. I think in this case, I mean, combat is genuinely not brain dead. It's not brain dead. So it's not like getting jumped or getting like attacked in the middle of nowhere is gonna be like a death sentence immediately. It's all about preparation. It's all about understanding the game, your resources, and how to use them. That's what makes Shinsei combat so immersive. Because it makes, and I've said this so many times before, but it feels like Naruto. You're not just pressing, you're not just spamming M1s and spamming all your moves. Everything is calculated. Everything. And it sounds like y'all need to understand, this is not, I want to say it without sounding like I'm glazing, but it's so hard because it's just immersive, bro. I don't know how to explain it without being in game and showing you how the mentality someone needs to have during a fight, because it's not like any other game. That sounds like glaze, but it probably is another game like Shinsei, but currently in our economy, there's no other game that has you thinking like Shinsei has you thinking during combat. You know, when you think about it, Rellseas really blew up because of innovation. If you were there at the time, you know the type of game we used to have. The Blox Fruit copies, wannabe freaking GPOs that just kept on releasing over and over and over again. We used to get the exact same game every other week, and Rellseas blew up because of the promise that it would not be like any other Roblox game, any other One Piece Roblox game at least. Progression would be non-linear, the complete opposite to what we had on the platform. I mean, the entire concept of Rellseas being a survival, exploration, adventure game, there was nothing like that on Roblox. And that's why Rellseas is still important to this day. That's why it's still in development today. And in my opinion, VV is not like any other Bleach game we've had on the platform. People love to compare it to Type Soul. I have not played Type Soul back in its prime. The first and last time I played Type Soul was summer of 2025. So I don't understand the Type Soul glaze. What I do know as a fact is that VV progression, just like Rellseas progression, is nothing like its counterparts, like its quote unquote competition. I don't want to bash on any other, Bleach games that are coming up at the moment. I can only speak on what I've experienced, and I've played VV. VV progression is the definition of innovation when it comes to Bleach Roblox games. And I know that its whole, side quests and main quests and whatever things isn't something that they come up with like out of the blue. But that's not the point. The point is that it could have copied every other Bleach game on the platform. They could have just modernized it, gave it some fresh new VFX and called it Type Soul 2.0. But they didn't. They chose to take the time to add and actually create a game worth playing, a game with actual content. It's kind of sad how having a game that has the bare minimum, that just barely does what it's supposed to do, which is add content, is so like amazing on Roblox. But that's the environment we are in currently. Like, look at the latest Bleach game that just released. Y'all can't tell me VV doesn't go above and beyond. Don't talk to me about Type Soul. I don't want to hear it. I cannot wait for the public to get their hands on VV, because yes, you and me will be playing VV for hours. That's what innovation does to a game. It creates an actually fun experience. That's why I think VV progression has reached the level of innovation that Rellseas is aiming for, or at least close behind. I think quality could be perceived in multiple different ways, but I think quality in this case would mean the overall game, like the game as a game. How well made is it in all aspects? Rellseas is still in development, once again, because of quality insurance. You don't know how many times these RELL brothers have remade the same thing. Why? To ensure that this game has the utmost, highest quality it can get. And if there's one game that, hot take incoming, if there's one game that does just like Rellseas and aims for the utmost peak of quality, if not more than Rellseas, is Holy War X. And that's without a doubt in my mind. I've been saying this since the start of the year. I might have to start pushing the agenda a little bit more, because the Holy War X disrespect in this economy is unacceptable. Y'all cannot be fans of Rellseas without actively awaiting Holy War X. Personally, I think Holy War X has a higher visual quality than Rellseas, but that's besides the point. The point is, Holy War X is still in development, once again, for quality reasons. They want to make this game the best game they can create. And y'all can't get... I know it's frustrating waiting for a game that never comes out. I know, alright? Listen, I paid for Tester back in 2023. I've never tested the game, not once.
What I will ask you though is, can you give me one more day? I'm not asking you for a week. I'm not asking you for a month. I'm not asking you for a year. Can you give me one more day?
That's all I'm asking. Listen, Holy War X quality is on par, if not beyond Rellseas in every aspect. That's not a diss towards Rellseas. It is purely so you guys can understand that Holy Rex is not just, Rellseas' little cousin. It's not just the silver to Rellseas gold. If that logic makes sense to you. Holy Rex is a game that, if you, like I said this once, I'm gonna say it again. If you're excited for Rellseas, you should be equally excited for Holy Rex, because it is going to be an experience. And if you want more info on Holy Rex, I got a big chunky video coming up soon. So you know what to do. I'm not even gonna say it. You know what I'm gonna say. You know what I'm gonna say. How about you go do it for me? But apart from these 3 games, what do you think are some other games that are upcoming that are reaching Rellseas level? Do you know any? Are there some that I missed? Do you disagree with me in any way, shape, or form? You know where to go. Comment section, let me know. For the longest time, the big 3 of anime Roblox has always been Rellseas, Holy Rex, and like Pocket Anime. But there are so many more games coming out. So many more. Some of them are not worth our attention. Some of them we need to be supporting. We need to be supporting with all our hearts just as much as Rellseas. And I'm not saying give them all your money. That's not what I'm saying. But you know what I mean, bro. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, that's it. Bye.